Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and a very warm welcome to Evolving Consciousness. I'm your host Purushottam, and in today's video, we are going to explore the BSM code of love. Yes, you heard it right, the BSM code of love. Now, oftentimes we hear a lot about love as an emotion in general, but we haven't given attention to this aspect of self love. Probably you have heard about the immense benefits of what self love offers to every human individual. But what if I told you the definition of self love, or the way we understand self love, is heavily crippled and probably is not the right way we perceive this emotion or we perceive this habit of self love? Now, even if you want to explore the emotion of love, right? So, what does love mean? At a subtle level, at a gross level, love is something which makes you feel good. But there are subtler dimensions to it. And this video is my humble attempt to unravel what true self love means and also what are the practical ways in which we can implement self love, because action speaks louder than words. You might tell someone that you love them a lot, but do your actions reflect that thought process or that words? Now, we are going to talk about deeper concepts, and these concepts are going to be extremely pragmatic so that it doesn't seem like pseudoscience. It makes logical and intellectual sense. So, let's get started with the basic premise. Now, to begin with, self love, the way people perceive self love, they think self love is all about pampering yourself, self love is all about feeling good. Self love is about feeling good, but feeling good from the right means. This distinction is something which most of us miss. Because, as they say, right, we always like to listen to things which we find soothing, which resonate with our school of thought. Whether that's right or wrong is a different story. We don't pay attention to that. And essentially, today's video is going to go to the deeper dimensions of it. Now, to begin with, when I say self love is not only about feeling good, what do I mean? Self love is about feeling good, but are you feeling good from the right means? A person who consumes drugs, someone who is accustomed to watching illicit material on the internet, he can also feel good. But is that the right way of feeling good? Probably not, right? This distinction always helps me to sort of navigate my decisions, to make me in a better position, to help me make better decisions. That principle is whatever gives you short term pain and long term pleasure, and whatever gives you short term pleasure and long term pain, avoid that. And whatever gives you short term pain but long term benefits, go and do that activity, go and accept that activity. Now, if you apply this principle which I just spelled out, you will know when you are stuck in crossroads as to what is the thing I need to do and what is the thing I should avoid. Now, I'm not talking about times where we have this urge to do something, but we are sort of refraining ourselves because we have understood the rudimentary principles of decision making. Once a time is fine, but what I'm inviting you to consider is once you are completely addicted to a habit, completely addicted to that habit to such an extent that your entire happiness depends on the detrimental habit. And we all know what those detrimental habits are. We can be honest to ourselves. Now, the reason I started the definition of self love with this premise is oftentimes we like to sort of cripple the definition of self love and we find justification, we sort of justify the things we shouldn't be doing on the context of self love, which is an absolute disservice to ourselves. Now, if you think about it, what are we made of, right? Let's take it from an extremely practical standpoint. You would say that you are the body, you would say you are the mind. Some of you might also say that you are a combination of body, mind, and soul. Now, whether you subscribe to the philosophy of soul or not, let's say that you are someone who only prescribes to the concept that you are a combination of body and mind. Either ways, I'm going to talk about these three significant dimensions, right? These three distinct dimensions, and how we can practice self love in each of these three dimensions. Because self love essentially is aimed at making us feel good. Essentially, it's about treating yourself with absolute sense of respect. It's about adoring yourself and appreciating yourself. Now, coming to talk about the body, right? Now, most of us, we take body for granted. But what if I told you a very fun, interesting scientific fact that your skin replaces itself once a month, your stomach lining every 5 days, your liver every 6 weeks, and your skeleton every 3 months? Isn't our body a magnificent vehicle which we have been gifted by the cosmic intelligence as the cosmic superpower? Shouldn't we take a moment in a day to feel genuine gratitude for this instrument which we often take so granted for? Because let's understand, the body is the number one vehicle through which you can practice self-love. If you are having an unhealthy body, there is nothing you can accomplish. You cannot even work on your mind and soul. You cannot be a prolific saint, nor you can accomplish anything of significance in the material world. The first prerequisite, the first good aspect of any human life is good health. In Sanskrit, they say that the first sukh any human being can experience is the sukh of nirogi kaya, which means perfect health, or a state which is devoid of diseases. Now, when we talk about health, right, there is so many essential aspects to it, and when we talk about the dimension of body, two very potent ways in which we can maintain our health, and this is absolute no-brainer. Probably everyone is aware of it. Number one is exercise, and number two is the right diet. Oftentimes, we don't understand the true power of exercise. We think we should only exercise when we are out of shape. This is the most foolish way to approach exercise. Even if you are in peak shape, to maintain that health, exercise is absolutely instrumental and is an absolutely indispensable requirement for you to maintain health. Because let's understand the physiology of exercise. Exercise not only benefits your body, reduction of weight or weight stabilization is just one of the 100 benefits which exercise has to offer. There are countless benefits. Exercise improves your cognitive function, your brain health. A plethora of benefits we can experience when we consistently exercise. Now, the tragedy is we only tend towards exercising when something happens to our health, right? Or the doctor says that you have a BP issue, a blood pressure issue, or a sugar issue. This is how we are. When we lose our health, we understand the value of our health. This is the way most of the things in our life is. When we lose a certain aspect of our life, we understand the value and weightage of it. But until we don't lose it, we don't understand the value. It is beautifully said in one of the quotes that intelligent are those who learn from mistakes, but the people who are truly wise are the ones who learn from other people's mistakes. So don't let your life become a recipe of mistakes and you learn from it. Instead, observe the world around you and learn from their mistakes. As it always said, precaution is better than cure. So it's very important to not only honor and appreciate your body, because let's understand, without the body, you cannot do the most simple activities in a day-to-day basis. So express genuine gratitude to your body and do things which will help, which will sort of give your body an overall well-being, which will help or assist your body in achieving an overall well-being. And avoid things which are not good for your body, no matter how much of a pleasure or how much of it makes you feel good. Now, this is the beautiful aspect about true self-love. True self-love, to put it very simply, is self-discipline. Oftentimes, you think self-love means only about feeling good. Feeling good through the right means is self love. Have you ever noticed when you had an intense workout? After the workout, you feel so amazing. We are talking about doing activities or pursuing activities which give us those kind of feelings. Essentially, you are feeling so good because a dose of dopamine is released in your brain. And the tragedy is, dopamine is also released when you are indulging in drugs or when you are doing things which give you an instant dose of dopamine. But you need to cater to the needs of your brain, of your daily dose of dopamine through the right means. And exercise is one such powerful way to give you that dose of dopamine. Now, also I talked about nutrition, right? Now, we tend to sort of criticize or sort of undervalue the importance of right thinking. Now, the entire field of nutrition, the entire field of work of nutrition is dedicated to the importance of right diet. If you talk about the right diet, in the Bhagavad Gita, the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 17, Lord Krishna has talked about three distinct qualities of food. He says sattvic, rajasic, and tamasic. And he says that sattvic food is the food which is very important, which is very good for our mind and body holistically. And the tamasic food are the foods which are dead in life, right? Things which don't have any life, they are not good for our system. Now there is a whole momentum of vegetarianism which is spreading like wildfire across the West. And this is not about vegetarian versus non-vegetarian. It's not about a moral code of conduct. It's only about understanding that human digestion is not built to sort of digest meat, right? Human digestive system is similar to that of an herbivores. So it's very important that we use the right kind of content, we take the right kind of content. There's a famous saying in Sanskrit which says, Jaisa an vaisa man. And you would have also noticed that if you have light food, you will feel extremely energetic, exuberant. And if you have food which is not of high quality from a pranic standpoint, you will automatically feel lethargic. You will feel that your energy has been sucked in. And this foolish premise which says that meat eating is a must for athletics and bodybuilders, let me give you an example of Virat Kohli. Now, Virat Kohli is a vegetarian and the whole world knows his athletic form. This is all excuses which we want to give to the world to sort of savor the things, to sort of justify our bad habits. But there are ample sources of protein available in the vegetarian diet as well. So hope these two potent ways you can think about exploring in your own innovative ways as to how I can make exercise and the right nutrition as my number one priority when it comes to catering to my body's overall well-being. Now let's go to the second dimension of this BMS code which I talked about. Now M stands for mind. Now mind is something which probably can either make you or break you, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna was talking about mind in a exuberant way when Arjuna asks him that mind is very difficult to control. It's as if I have to keep a lamp which is sort of flickering in the midst of a heavy windfall, right? He said that it's very difficult to control the mighty power of the mind. It's as difficult as controlling the wind itself. So Krishna says that no doubt mind is difficult to control, but through right practice and through right levels of vairagya, which in other words is known as detachment, one can master the mind. Now this might sound very spiritually prolific to many of you, but to give you a very powerful way of pragmatically implementing this, one of the tools is mindfulness. Now mindfulness basically means to be in the present moment. Because we all have heard of the quality of letting go. We all have heard that we need to surrender. But how do you do it? I mean, it's easier said than done, right? But when you are mindful, when you are in the present moment, you have automatically let go. You have automatically surrendered. because you are absolutely 100% consuming your consciousness in the present moment. Now, this mindfulness is not a 1 hour activity or a 2 hour activity, but it needs to be the way of your being 24 into 7. Now, that's the reason why people who practice meditation, right? Now, there are two segments of population, right? There are two segments of population. One segment of the population thinks meditation benefits them, and there's another segment of the population who believe that probably meditation didn't bring much of value to them. One thing you need to acknowledge and understand is the practice of meditation certainly helps you to build your awareness and your mindfulness muscle. But what we also need to be careful and vigilant towards is that how am I pursuing life throughout the rest of the day apart from my meditation journey? Because let's understand the kind of muscles you build on a day-to-day basis, that is what is going to be stronger. If you are building the muscles of distraction, if you do any activity with a distracted mindset, you are bound to always feel distracted, no matter how many hours of meditation you do, because it's all an hours game. You are not going to be in a situation where you are going to meditate 24/7, right? It's not going to be possible. But a more practical way of approaching it is to be in the moment. Now, this can be very difficult to begin with, but once you start practicing it, you will see instant benefits out of it. The number one benefit out of it is you don't have to sort of practice letting go and surrender as a philosophy. These two things automatically happen when you give your attention to the present moment. Such is the power of now. It's extremely powerful to practice mindfulness. And if you look at it from a very general standpoint, all the problems of the mind which we sort of face, it's either due to the past or it's due to the future. But mindfulness is all about living in the now. And when you are living in the now, there is no problem which exists. You are absolutely aware of what you are doing in the now. Now, this might be a little hard to digest and comprehend in the beginning, but if you practice this thought process that I just said about mindfulness, the results are bound to happen. The results are bound to come to you. Now, meditation is a very powerful tool to start mindfulness, but one thing you have to understand is it's like a feedback loop. The meditation helps you becoming more mindful, but you need to practice being mindful more consciously throughout the rest of the day, which will sort of serve as a fuel for your meditation practice. So it's a beautiful loop to get stuck in. Oftentimes we are stuck in vicious loops of past and future. I read a beautiful understanding of what our thinking is. If you closely observe, we are thinking 960,000 of our thoughts and 90% of our thoughts in a day, they are just reliving the past memories. There is nothing new in it. And most of the thoughts are pure garbage. They don't serve us in any way, but still we continue to think it. Hence, it's very important to understand how futile the way we are approaching our mindset is, the thoughts are. So we need to be more and more aware in the now, and there are innumerable benefits of mindfulness. And once you start practicing being mindful, and automatically you will start thinking thoughts of positivity, because you can't be negative when you are absolutely in the now, no matter how dreadful the situation is. Also, another way of helping you practice self-love in sort of focusing on your dimension of your mind is to practice gratitude. Having a gratitude journal can serve you a lot, because when you are practicing gratitude, you are essentially silencing the negativity bias of your brain, which is sort of a default setting of the human brain. And once you silence that and you consciously practice gratitude, your mind is filled with a lot of positive thoughts. And every time you sort of catch yourself from thinking something which doesn't serve you, immediately break that synaptic connection. And once you break that synaptic connection and replace it with something productive and something positive and meaningful, you have already practiced self-love. Now, coming to probably the third aspect, the third dimension of this particular BMS code. Now, this is something which can be a little difficult to comprehend. Now, I'm going to talk about consciousness, our soul in general. Now, this is not some pseudoscience which says that soul doesn't exist. Now, there is a powerful tool in scientific literature called Kirlian photography, which sort of assesses your aura. It is able to see the aura of a person, and it has also produced distinct pictures of a dead person versus a alive person, and they have concluded that around a dead person there is no aura, there is no consciousness. So there are innumerable researches which prove that consciousness is a reality. Consciousness and soul, the existence of soul is not pseudoscience. And the entire premise of reincarnation and past lives, there are countless researches and evidences, and people have written a lots of book on the power, on the significance, on the truth behind reincarnation and the concept of past lives. So this means that the soul very much exists. How can you and me practice self-love towards your soul? Now, something which I beautifully read in recent past is something which adds value to other people versus just gratifying your own senses is something which is capable of giving you everlasting feeling of bliss, everlasting feeling of contentment. If you do something only for yourself, right, only to feel good in yourself, you probably will not remember that moment 10 years down the line. But if you do something which brought about a genuine smile on someone else's face, that you will remember even 10 years after this present reality has happened. Even after 10 years of that event, you will still remember that and feel the amount of bliss. Feel a genuine amount of bliss within you. Now, we can all think of ways in which we can contribute to someone else's life. Now, you might be thinking, how is this like loving the soul? Essentially, the concept of Advaita says that we are all spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, and to put it in a very mature way, it's also said that we all are souls of that infinite supreme soul. And when I'm doing something from an unselfish intention, I'm essentially expanding that soul consciousness. Because when I do good to others without any personal agenda, I am automatically expanding the consciousness of my soul. And having a purpose in life, having a defining purpose in life, also helps us to sort of nurture this soul. Now, the purpose can be absolutely simple, and the purpose can be absolutely legendary. It's for yours to choose. But having a central purpose in life is very instrumental as to if you want to feel the power of self-love when it comes to the dimension of soul. Now, you might be thinking, this aspect of soul, why did I talk about it? Because let's understand, there are people in this world who are multi-billionaires, but they still feel empty inside. There is a hunger to which they haven't catered. And because of that hunger, they always feel empty within. Every human soul wants to feel fulfilled. And the most powerful way anyone can feel fulfilled is through contribution. Now, this is an irrefutable law. Whether you like it or not, this has to happen. If you contribute to the world in general, if you turn out to be a person of value, automatically you start feeling fulfilled. I hope my today's video was extremely practical for you to start implementing ways and means through which you practice self-love. Because let's remember and understand, just saying that I love myself, I love someone else doesn't really show or prove that you love someone. You need to demonstrate that through actions. And your actions are sort of the source of your subconscious belief systems. And until you practice self-love at a subconscious cellular level, nothing is going to change, right? You are only going to cosmetically say that you are engaging in acts of self-love. And always remember, self-love doesn't mean keeping, sort of dressing up well and sort of taking superfluous selfies and posting them in social media. That is not true self-love. We can deceive the world. We can sort of showcase the happiest picture to the world, but we need to be honest to ourselves. Am I truly practicing self-love, or am I presenting myself as I'm someone who's practicing self. So let's be honest to ourselves, because you yourself, you are the only person who's going to be with yourself for the rest of your life. People might come and go, right? But we are never going to leave ourselves. So I hope this particular thought sinked into your consciousness and you understood the immense importance of practicing genuine self-love. Thank you so much for your time on my video. If you really enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share and also subscribe to my channel if you are enjoying the genre of the content I'm sharing in my channel. Thank you so much, and I will meet you in the next video.